Mr. Vincent Boland, Managing Director of the St. Lucia Development Bank, members of the Board of Directors of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, members of the Chamber, other government officials, the media, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I am certain that this is the first virtual annual general meeting of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture. So let me again welcome all of you to the 136th annual general meeting of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture. We hold this meeting under some of the most trying times of our nation has ever faced. Yet, we know that whenever our institution has been placed under pressure, we have risen to the occasion. So, I have no doubt in my mind that we as Chamber, as a business community, will rise and strive. Thus, the annual general meeting being held under the theme, Adapt, Operate and Thrive. This we know is not a sprint, but more of a medium to a long-term, distant event. Notwithstanding the length, it will not be an easy task to achieve our objectives. It will require the collaborative will and effort of all, chamber members, future chamber members, business now on the sidelines, friends and well-wishers, directors and the secretariat. We need all hands on deck if we are to ensure that our chamber delivers on its promise to the members, and that is, with strength in numbers, we promise to protect our members from any individual persecution as we advocate on their behalf to make St. Lucia an ideal location for doing business. We also promise to provide networking opportunities and business development services to meet their individual needs. The Chamber takes its role as a national institution very seriously. We understand the high expectations of us from the entire St. Lucia populace. Therefore, at this critical time, we act in keeping with that keen sense of occasion. We have chosen to partner with other private sector institutions, other businesses, and with government and its agencies to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. It is the responsibility of all of us to protect our people and nation from the onslaught of this most damaging virus. We have worked collaboratively with the above-mentioned partners through all the phases of this pandemic response, from shutdown to phased reopening to now responding to the second wave. We seek to inter alia engage and encourage citizens, businesses, communities to be more responsive, resilient, and committed to their own economic recovery, growth, and prosperity. As a chamber, we are front and center in the Recover St. Lucia initiative. Concurrently, we continue to help our members adapt, operate, and thrive. The messages and intentions are consistent. We thus encourage you, our members, to support the Recover St. Lucia initiative the best you can. Please remember this is the Christmas season and we should do all that we can to ensure that all St. Lucians can participate in this most joyous and important holiday cheer. Our nation has a tough road ahead. The government, with the input of civil society and the private sector, has put together an economic recovery program. Many groups and institutions participated in the design of the recovery plan. We should all do whatever we can to ensure the success of the recovery effort. Permit me to once again alert you that Recover St. Lucia has been designed to complement the economic recovery plan the government has put forward and not to duplicate its efforts. While gaps have been identified, we seek to assist where a little impetus is needed to get things going. We will step in. The biggest element of the Recovery St. Lucia initiative is the bringing together of the two main political parties to work with us on this national initiative. Let me just say this. We must be clear that it is a movement to get all solutions, citizens, businesses, and communities and its leaders involved in the recovery of our nation. We know that political parties choose not to participate in anything when they are not leading. In opposition, they oppose and sometimes undermine. We thus have asked both political parties to join the business sector and citizens to engage, enhance, and expand the participation, the perspective on what is possible in this fight. The mindset of taking responsibility is not echoed strong enough, and it is undermined by the politics. And so this apolitical initiative has been created to involve all of us. Therefore, we urge all our leaders and influencers to embrace and spread this positive message of playing our part in our nation's recovery. We wish one single national voice on this issue. Follow the protocols. Yes, the protocols work, so let them work. We ask that the party leaders use their influence in the communities and among citizens so that each individual, for their own sake and that of their family, friends, and community, respect and adhere to the protocols. We want to encourage and empower our nation's citizens to take more responsibility for their health, protection, economic growth, and prosperity. We know this is ambitious, but we must think big, act big, and we will have big results. The coronavirus pandemic has, in my view, given us cause to pause. Our world and our country continue to be seriously affected by climate change and rapidly improving and emerging digital technology. Yes, climate change and its effects have been compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic. Our first speaker, Mr. Boland, spoke to the issue of the Climate Adaptation Financing Facility. This facility was designed to help businesses and households adapt to the effects of climate change. The repurposing of this loan now allows businesses that have been affected by the pandemic to qualify. I'm therefore pleased that the work of the Chamber in the last few years to bring attention to risk reduction and resilience building is proving to be prophetic. Our nation and our businesses are prone to natural, man-made, biological, and cyber risks, and we need to ensure that we assess, understand, and mitigate those risks. I therefore urge members to ensure that they conduct, develop, and use business continuity planning to help them manage in this uncertain world. Businesses need to keep reviewing, testing, and amending their plan. We need to adapt to the threats and opportunities which climate change presents. A recent statistic that was shared by the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Agency, UNDRR, at the recently held Chamber organized Enhancing the Resilience of MSMEs to Multi-Hazards, resilience measures have a 1-to-7 return. Yes, for every dollar spent on resilience measures, there is some $7 saving. And yes, resilient pays. Remember, climate events are happening more frequent and more intensely. Adapting does not only refer to climate adaptation, as we seek to ensure that our businesses are able to survive and thrive in a more uncertain world. We need to appreciate the numerous phenomena that are impacting us, and we need to innovate. We need to be prepared to change and how and what we are doing to ensure lower costs, high productivity, protection and expansion of customer base, and greater resilience to risks while taking advantage of the changing customer demographic. I strongly propose that the issue of innovation and adaptation must play a critical role in our management and leadership agenda. This is how we are going to strive and prosper in the new normal. I note that the Secretariat is seeking to host a design thinking workshop. I encourage you, our members, to participate. Our businesses must lead this charge. We must encourage our team members to be innovative and transformative in our management style. The need for adaptation is not only at the business level, but also at the national level. Governments over the last few years have invested in many programs and projects that seek to build our nation's resilience to climate change. We have seen huge investments in more modern and resilient infrastructure, bridges, slope stabilization, riverbank strengthening, the building of concrete gutters along roads, and even rebuilding secondary schools that serve as hurricane shelters. These and other initiatives are good and extremely important. But we need to see greater adaptation and innovation and thus reform in the general delivery of services to the business community. We applaud the efforts of the Department of Public Sector Modernization with e-government project DigiGov, the integrated government e-services platform, which makes it easier for people and businesses to submit applications and make payments digitally over 15 of St. Lucia's public services. But we are anxiously and impatiently look forward to the long-awaited port community single window. Living in a small, very open island country makes our nation most vulnerable to natural disasters and simultaneously overly dependent on international trade in goods and services. We are not insulated from the global realities. This issue of diversification, therefore, must be given serious attention by government and businesses. Please, when I speak of diversification, I am not speaking about undermining the tourism industry, no. I'm saying we should build other sectors as part of our national economic resilience strategy. Remember the saying, don't put all your eggs in the same basket. Now, more than ever, the idea of strategic and creative diversification must be advanced. For instance, we need to strengthen our manufacturing sector so that we can produce more efficiently, more of what we produce so that we have additional sources of employment and income. To do this, our manufacturers need real structural support and not just shallow temporary tariffs and protection through licenses and effective incentives and concessions. Manufacturers need access to low-cost financing, access and support for technological upgrades, support to improve and diversify products and supply chains, support to improve the standards and quality of their products and reasonable to support to allow them to develop. We need to also address the high energy costs of production and the transportation problems of the region. Similarly, we need to treat agriculture as a transformative sector that impacts positively on environmental, social, and economic aspects of our nation's development. What is required is real and easily accessible support and a policy framework that will encourage investment in the sector. Agriculture needs investment in new technologies, more climate-resistant crops, and in the downline industries like health and wellness, agro-processing, and of course, niche exporting and farm-to-table produce for the visiting tourists. We cannot go back to the past after this pandemic. We must seek to rebuild our economy on more than one pillar where the average person is the prime beneficiary. Our current experiences is surely all the justification we need. It is our economy and nation if our economy and nation is to strive, we need to work together. We must develop a better way of speaking to each other and learning how to disagree without demonizing those of a different viewpoint. There are many ways to skin a cat, and a difference of views does not mean the other is wrong or worse, evil. We need to engage more in interest-based dialogue. We all have the same interests. We all want our nation to grow and be prosperous. That means we wish the citizens of our nation to grow, prosper, and enjoy a high quality of life. We wish there to be greater equity in incomes and to, if not, eradicate poverty. This is our common interest. How do we do it? Is what we should argue about. And we must stop suggesting that those of a different view as to how we achieve the same objective as cruel, evil, and worthless. Let us all be more mature and responsible. There are thousands of people listening to us, and we must be careful. Our influence is greater than we realize. Ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe in interest-based dialogue and negotiation. And I think we can honestly find solutions to our challenges without the destructive rhetoric which currently exists. We all want the same thing. The St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, our chamber, has stood out as a key and critical national institution in helping and supporting the national COVID-19 pandemic response. Moreover, it is our belief that we did a great job in assisting our members in particular, and we continue to develop on our membership promises and value proposition. We will continue to provide strategic advocacy and high quality representation. We are primed to assist our members, the wider business community, and our nation to adapt, operate, and strive. In this new emerging, yet uncertain economic environment, we remain the most important and influential voice of the business community. We have been by design and will remain deliberate, measured, calm, composed in our work. As we have said often, our voices are not often shouted. Our sword is not often drawn. We labor long and hard. Let no one doubt our resolve. As our nation continues this journey into uncharted territory, the Chamber will undoubtedly continue to be relevant and will play its part. Our board of directors, the Chamber Executive Director, Brian Lucia, and his team at the Secretariat, will continue to translate programs and ideas into action and serve you, our members. Yet, as you know, we can only do so with your continued support. Only as the president of the Chamber have I had the privilege to fully understand the breadth and depth of the Chamber's reach. There is an incredible, sometimes unrealistic expectation of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce from members, future members, public agencies, public officers, the donor community, government, political parties, citizens, civil society, and international development agencies. Our advocacy agenda is long and ever-changing. The services we offered was limited by capacity constraints, while representation and speaking on issues from social to political is par for the course. I'm therefore more convinced that we, the business community and individuals, must continue and in fact, increase our support to the Chamber, as its work is crucial, particularly at this time, as the Chamber continues to play a greater role in our business's survival than we take time to assess and admit. This is a time when the mutual need, Chamber and members, is clear and required. Support and get more involved in the Chamber. I wish to thank the board for their support over the years, as they spared no time to ensure Chamber remained on course. It was truly a collective effort and an absolute pleasure working with you. My gratitude also goes out to the Chamber Secretariat, our Executive Director, Brian Lucia, and his team, Many thanks for a job well done. Thank you all for the support you have given myself as your president and the board over the years in executing our initiatives. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you. It has been an education and a worthwhile challenge.